Candid Conversations with CIPC together with the Small Business Connect. This is week 4 of our series of discussions with the Commissioner of the CIPC, Astrid Lodini. Good evening to you and welcome to the show. My name is Herman, your host up until 8 o'clock, as we always do every Tuesday for the next couple of weeks to come as well. Looking forward to your interaction. Welcome to Janine, Mgezi, Amber, Basil, Caroline, Darren, Elri, Johan, Jacqueline, the list goes on and on. Thank you very much for joining us, KJ, Nompumelelo, as well as Ntabi saying are some of the guests that are following the show tonight. I came across, as we do preparations for the show, we read through the internet, scan what your comments are and, you know, where the wind is blowing, so to speak. And I stumbled across this article called 50 Reasons to Start Your Own Business. Now, some of those reasons are flexibility, more spare time eventually, because we all know when you start a company, you cannot really expect to have spare time when you start off. Christoph will tell you more about that, I'm sure. Pursue your passion, meet new people. These are some of the reasons. They help people become an expert. And the other one, I'm surprised they put it number 15, make more money. So whatever your reasons are of wanting to start the reason, at some point here in Mzansi, you must interact and register your company through the CIPC. And they've introduced a number of products that are aimed at making it easy for us to register a company. So that you go there, it's a one-stop shop. You get all what you need in there, tax registrations and one of the elements that they introduced late last year, I think October, if my memory serves me well, was the PEE verification. This is where you get your PEE certificate free of charge when you register a new company. This is some of the areas that have come up in the past week. So we're going to be looking into this a little bit with the Commissioner, in addition to fielding your questions as well. So I'm not alone as always. I'm with Christoph. Last week it was Nabila, but tonight we're joined by Christoph. Christoph, good evening and welcome back.
Yes, good evening, Urban. It's nice to be back. In fact, last week, while you guys were talking about all things registering business, I was at a Small Business Connect event. In fact, the first live event where we had an inspirational entrepreneur in the form of Herman Mashaba speaking about his life story about starting a business and building it up to being a hugely successful business too. And just by the way, on number 15, the making money one, the reason perhaps why it is number 15 is because making money is the result of doing good business. Yeah. And you have to have a lot of other stuff in place before that happens. In fact, it is commonly known that if you focus too much on making money, solely so, that you lose track of a lot of other things, like for instance making sure that your compliance issues are in place and that you connect with your customers in the right way and that your product actually adds a lot of value to the people that you're serving. So that's perhaps why it is number 15. Not that it's not important, it is on the list, but sort of in the coaching work that we do with entrepreneurs, we often talk about the result of business being that of making money and not the purpose. The purpose, of course, being to create value for your customers and serve their needs. But that's not what we're talking about today. So I'm sure we've got a few other things to be attending to. Maybe that's a topic that we can, in fact, address in a future Small Business Connect show. But yeah, I'm happy to be back here today, and I see a lot of messages having arrived at our office. Specifically people that expressed their appreciation for issues that they raised in earlier shows that have been resolved, and also the speed at which that has happened. So that was great to see that, in fact, in that way, the people that made the effort to come onto the show and raise the questions that they had, that the CIPC could attend to them and resolve them for them.
I think, Christoph, you brought a point that I was going to touch on later on and get your views, but I'm happy you brought it now as we start. I mean, that's one of the exciting things about this project for me as well, where we thought, and you and the team at CIPC brought this thing together, and it's already starting to bear fruit. I mean, not only should we be happy when issues are being resolved, but also I think with the response and the interaction that we're getting from entrepreneurs and service providers out there.
Yes, indeed, and that's perhaps why we do it, because our job is to serve the needs of the entrepreneurs and make sure that an environment is created where they can do good business. So as Small Business Connect, we understand that information sharing is not the only important thing, but that it must also be information that you can use. So, of course, when I first got involved in publishing, and in fact, launching a newspaper for small businesses about 20 years ago, we didn't have these kind of technologies that we have today, where we can interact and have discussions online with such ease as we do today. And I see that, sort of to have around 80 people online on a show on a Tuesday evening, talking about the things that can take their businesses forward is absolutely great. So I'm quite excited about these mediums that we have now in the form of this online shows, but also using the social media in the communication that we can improve.
Awesome. Thank you very much. I'll touch base with you later on there. And also, we say good evening and welcome once again to the Commissioner, Astrid Ludin. Welcome.
Thank you, Herman. It's great to be back.
Great. Thank you very much for making the time and interacting with us and entrepreneurs and service providers alike. So we're looking forward to having you along once again. So thank you very much. Should we touch on the feedback? Because as we like to do whenever we start the show, we look back on the I don't want to say pressing issues, but the comment or topic rather, maybe that's the right word, a topic that entrepreneurs and people asked to get more clarification on. And one of them is the BEE verification process. Can you, I think, for the sake of those that missed the show, you said the process was launched, I think, in October last year. Can you share more about how it works? I know it's for new registrations only. Just share a little bit on that again, the Commissioner.
With pleasure, Herman. We launched the BEE service at the end of September last year, so as you said, early October, and it is only available at this stage on the self-service terminals, which are based in Pretoria at our self-service centre and also at the Carlton Centre self-service centre in Johannesburg. Essentially, we have received an accreditation from the DTI to be a verification agency, but only in a very limited context. So only for new company registrations where we can verify who the directors are. And because through the self-service terminals we verify the directors against Home Affairs through their fingerprints, so biometrically we can do that. So at this stage we only offer this service for new registrations, and we don't offer, I know there were questions asked about renewals, annual renewals, or renewals of certificates. We don't offer that service at this stage because we've just launched it. For us it's still relatively recently, and we wanted to first see how this works. So we only launched the first phase of the BEE accreditation. And I must say that, as I think I mentioned last week, the uptake has not been huge. So between October and December, we received and issued 375 certificates. So it's not been huge, but we think that there's a lot of value in it. And as we launch this with the DTI, and it becomes also more easily accessible to people, it'll be used more frequently.
Awesome. And any areas? I mean, I know last week, and I hate repeating it because we've got questions to deal with. You're not planning to escalate it to verifying already existing companies. It's only for registration of new companies.
those are the terms of what DTI has approved at this stage, and we first wanted to see whether there would be demand for it and what the uptake would be. So what we gathered from these engagements, and I think that's what's so valuable about these type of engagements, is that there would actually be quite a big potential for it. So we will engage with DTI and see what we can, how we can expand it, and what further phases we can add. And I see Thando from the CIPC, who is one of our main developers for the self-service terminals, has also joined the chat. So perhaps Thando wants to add something about PE.
Let me try and
work. Let's see.
Okay, let me try and be fancy and ask if we can get him on the line. Christoph, is it possible at all? I know it's late. It's 7:10. I'm putting you on the spot here.
Yeah. Yes, it is possible, but you're going to test our abilities here in understanding how our systems work. So what we can do is we can share a link. We can share a link which may bring into the
yeah, Thando can just email you
into the webinar.
Yeah.
Herman and Christoph, maybe Thando can just add some things on the chat. I see he's on the chat, so maybe he can just communicate if he wants to add something through that.
All right, there you go. I think my apologies.
Oh, wow. No, there is in fact a way. Maybe it is something that we can do in the future. So what we could do is, if in the future, if someone raises a question, we must just make sure that we know exactly how to do this, that we can give them a link to open a new window on their browser, and then their voice can appear and their face can appear on the show too. So there is in fact a way of bringing listeners into the show to talk to. But yeah, let's prepare ourselves a bit better so that we know what to do next time.
Yeah, no, I started that question with a disclaimer. Don't want to put you on the spot. All right, so thank you there, Christoph and Commissioner. If we can then start working our way through some of the questions that have already been sent through. The first one from Norman says, firstly, thank you, Commissioner, that the final registrations get done within 4 days. But why is name reservation so slow? Last week, 7 working days. Now to 10 working days. That's the question from Norman.
Norman, just some further good news. The feedback I got from the registration team this morning is that they were today registering applications they received yesterday for electronic transactions, and I think they've moved to the end of January for manual transactions. So they're catching up quickly. The name reservations team, I believe, is still on 7 working days, and I just confirmed that with the office. So Norman, there may be a problem. I suggest that you send me an email about that. And I think you did send me an email last week about Standard Bank. So you do have my email address, I assume. Just send me an email. It might just be an outlier. Otherwise, we'll follow up and just confirm.
All right. And I think Bronwyn asks why we have not received a director change since December.
If that is a manual director change, it's possible, but the director amendment and CC member amendment team is up to date. I think they're within their turnaround times, and their turnaround times for electronic changes are 5 working days, and I think it's 30 working days for manual applications. I suggest if they're outside the turnaround time, and it sounds to me like they would be, we need to log a ticket on the query system. I think that the query, this particular unit is good about responding to queries. If you don't get your response within 10 days, you need to email me.
All right. The next question from Leslie is it goes, COR44s constantly coming back with errors in our company name, in the addresses, or in the addresses not being changed, etc., etc. Data capturing is shocking. Online company registrations taking so long, 1 month. What happened to the 24-hour registration period? I think it's more about errors that are coming back and the delays in response.
Yes, the Core 44s are manual applications at this stage, although Tando, I think, has been working on an electronic one, and that will be another fully automated one. So once it's launched, fully tested and launched, I will recommend it. For the time being, please bear with us. When we do manual applications, the staff, I think especially in this area, we don't have a lot of people focusing on this. So the moment the volumes build up and the staff are under pressure, we do see capturing errors coming in. If you get a capturing error, please send an email with the details of the error to corrections@cipc.co.za. That's the unit that can affect changes and affect corrections when we've made errors.
All right. This is, I think, one of those areas that we touched on a few times. It's about the query system. It goes, the inquiry system is not functioning. Of 20 tickets lodged, we received 4 replies. Is there no other way of lodging inquiries? Compliments to Petro Engelbrecht, who does reply. Some documents are not registered, nor do we get any feedback on the inquiry system. No feedback, due dates come and go. Specifically, we have company lodged on 19 January, still nothing on that one.
The company's team is still working through the backlogs, and so they are also the ones, when they're backlogs on the capturing side, then they will also be slower in responding to queries because it's the same team dealing with those issues. So their strategy was to first clear all the backlogs on electronic transactions, electronic applications. They have moved on to maintain the electronic transactions and work through any backlogs on the manual applications, and then which includes conversions. And then once they've done that, they will focus on the queries in companies. I must say, though, that earlier this week we had a conversation about that possibility, and one of the things that was suggested by the company's team is rather than spending a lot of time on clearing the backlog on queries, what they would like to do, and it would be good to get your feedback on that, is to close all the queries on new companies and then ask those who've lodged tickets. On the query resolution system, what happens is you, as the person who've lodged your query, can actually, you would be the one that would actually finally close it. But what we can do from our side is close the query, and if you feel that it hasn't been resolved, from your side you can open it again. So that is our request to you. That's what the team is proposing at the moment, rather than working through the 15,000 queries I think that they need to deal with, is to just close those and ask you, if your matter has not been resolved, to make sure that the ticket is opened. So we'd welcome feedback on that.
Astrid, what is the question? Should users be able to close their tickets?
What happens at the moment is either the user can close the ticket or we can close the ticket as CIPC. Our question is, because there are a lot of queries for new company registrations going back to October last year, and the team has been slow in responding to those. Only to one category of questions, not the others, just new company registrations. So what the team would like to do is close the queries and then ask those listeners who lodged queries or members of the public to, if their query is really not closed, if it's still outstanding, to just open it again on the query system. Is that clear, Christoph, or am I being very obtuse about this? Is it too difficult to understand the request?
So the question is for company registrations, whether users would like to be able to close queries themselves and reopen them if it's not attended to, or whether they should just wait for the CIPC to close them.
No, no. The CIPC, what the CIPC would like to do is close all those queries, and we would like the users whose queries are still not resolved to go back in and just to open those queries, not to reopen, not to lodge new ones, just to open the ones that we've now closed.
Okay. Should the CIPC close queries for tickets for company registration with users being able to open them again?
That's correct.
So what you see here is the wonderful thing that we can create a poll quickly. and in fact, you can see me typing it as well on the screen. I realize now. And the options will be yes or no, and in a short while we will run that poll. So Herman, you can keep talking, and then we can come back to people voting on that when in fact we can start the poll now. So on the area on the right, not on the screen in the middle, on the area on the right, in the sidebar, you can click on the poll tab, and you should now be able to vote yes or no. Should the CIPC close the ticket for company registration with users being able to open them again? There is a typo, of course, at the beginning because we just created that wording now.
Awesome. So you had to, basically the system is saying create the poll live when the show is on, not before and try to publish it when the show is on. Awesome.
So people can vote. People can vote now, and then later on we will close the poll, and we can see what the feeling is of at least of those. I see we're approaching 100 people, by the way, on the call today. So we'll get a good sense of what people feel the right thing is to do in this regard.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Christoph. We'll share those results later on in the show. By the way, Commissioner, that question was from Annette, and then she has another one, says MOI document. It is a problem that only directors may apply for the MOI document. Not only does some directors not have access to internet and email, it also impacts on our client base. We cease to have function if every director is encouraged to do their own registrations.
Let me respond to that. Annette, the purpose here is not to limit the services of intermediaries who assist their clients. But what we found is that a lot of people did not get access to their original documents. And that causes a big problem for us because people then contact us for copies of certificates or for copies of documents, or they even at a later stage have to request a copy of a file. So what we've done is created a place on the website where the director can access their documents. It's not the same as them registering. It doesn't mean that they register the companies themselves because many of them will still not choose to do so. They could do so at the moment. It just means that they can access their documents there at any stage free of charge. So it is really in their interest, and I think you should maybe find a way, and all practitioners should find a way of working that into their business process. I realize that it's a change for you, but actually, we found that for many people it's not been a problem. There are very few directors who do not have access to email and or the internet. So I think it's really about you facilitating that for them.
Okay. All right, and the one from, is it Heloise? Ms. Ludin, on 17 September, you responded to my email about one of our companies whose name was inadvertently changed by CIPC. You CC'd your staff. No one has responded. I lodged a query on your ticket system in November. No response yet. So my optometrist firm is still an attorney firm.
Was that I assume that was a confusion of the name, or when what happened is because the slowness of the database, sometimes it's technical, but the tracking number, if we received 2 applications at the same time, because the database was struggling, it linked the wrong companies. So I think, can you just send that back to me again? just send it to me again, and we will get it sorted out.
All right, cool. And then moving on to another question from Ntobeko, says, why did the CIPC remove contact points when the new systems do not seem to be fully functional, and there seems to be a capacity issue? Do you understand that question there, Commissioner?
Not fully, but let me respond. Our new system is fully functioning. We don't have a problem with systems. In fact, our systems have much improved. So there are backlogs, but they're not system related. They are related to capturing in the organization. So we haven't removed contact points. What we've done is improved our systems.
Okay, another one from Numpumelelo. This is about deregistered companies. It says, company names for deregistered companies. What process can I follow to use the name again if not allowed to reinstate the company?
So what happens is when we deregister a company, we usually wait a little while. I think it's about 6 months, and then we release that company name. And if somebody else gets it, then applies for that name, preserves it, and uses it, then of course you won't be able to use it again. So I think the team does make exceptions sometimes, and I think if in those particular circumstances you would need to apply for a name reservation, but I would recommend that you do it. If they can't reinstate it with a name, they will liaise internally with the name reservation team to see if exceptions can be made.
Okay, so another one. All right. Caroline asked the question, new company registration documents such as MOIs does not show on my customer account even though clients get notification that it is with me.
No, the client, what needs to happen is the client can access it themselves. You can facilitate that by making by assisting them to register a customer code, and then the directors can access their MOI documents. If you're not a director of the company, you will not. It won't show on your account.
And Commissioner, do you guys at CIPC encourage, like I'm the client, or I want to register a company through a service provider, do you encourage me sharing my details with my service provider? Like your log on and passwords?
No. I think it's the same as a PIN code. So I don't think the password and the logins should be shared. It's really just about facilitating the client to access their documents. I think people just need to realize the moment they put money into their customer code, it is like a bank account. So, you know, if you are going to share the details, password of somebody else, then you also need to take responsibility if there's any money in that customer code. And it gets
so basically, like a normal online transaction, basically.
Yes.
All right. If we can move on to another one from Lehlohonola Petrus, says, my name is Petrus from Mufumani Boys Pty Ltd. I do company registrations, but sometimes the registration fails even though I have filed all the requirement documents. I also filed director amendments document with necessary documentation, but it was rejected. Why was that?
Okay, I think that's actually a very good question, because we see this every day, that people don't necessarily use the approach or the process that we've outlined correctly. So what is very important is that you submit a document. Let's say you do a company registration, that you don't scan those documents individually. You need to scan them into one document. You also need to make sure that that document is either a PDF, preferably a PDF, or a TIFF. We find a lot of people scan and send us documents that are JPEG documents, but the team cannot read those documents. So what may happen is you may have attached individually the IDs and all the documents to the email, but the team will only be able to read and view one of those attachments, and so they will reject the application. So it's very important that we all work together to get the approach right. So it needs to be in one email, and it needs to be preferably in a PDF document. And the same with in fact, it's with all the processes it'll be the same, but with director changes, electronic director changes, and electronic company registrations are a similar process.
Okay. All right. Sorry, Commissioner, I'm busy listening and reading my next question as I go along. Must have lost you there for a bit. Let me bring in Christoph. I think he's got something to tell us with the poll results and also an opportunity for listeners to join us live, I believe.
Yes. So it looks like 75% of people that were on the call today believe that the CIPC should, in fact, close those tickets with the ability for them to open them again if it's not resolved, which gives a kind of a strong signal to what the preference may be of users in general. I'm not sure, Astrid, if that resonates with your thinking about which direction they should take at all.
That's wonderful. That's great feedback. It's just shows how innovative and wonderful and engaging this form of communication is. So thank you very much.
Yes, and so the other element is that the women's question about bringing people onto the show to actually speak. I actually looked into it, and I've pasted there in the sticky note on the chat area a link. If anyone wants to pose a live question, we can actually do that. So if you look in the chat area at the top, there's a sticky note that keeps staying there. You will have to unfortunately exit from this show and open a new window. In fact, you need to close the window that you're in now and open a new one, preferably from Chrome, and you of course need to have sound to be able to speak, preferably a headset, so that we don't get feedback. But we can deal with someone coming onto the show and talk with us too. So if anyone is brave enough, otherwise you can just keep typing your questions and keep things flowing through the chat, the text chat area there on the right. But we do have the ability to bring someone on the show too.
Awesome, that's something exciting. So if you're anyone who doesn't like texting or typing and clicking enter, here's an opportunity to be vocal about your question with the CIPC and engage with us. So yeah, we'll keep monitoring that. Thank you very much there, Christoph. Commissioner, if we can carry on, or let me rather take you back to a question that we dealt with earlier. Heloise came back and she responded to your response saying, no ma'am, my company was registered and we submitted the first annual return. When we submitted the second annual return, we picked up the name had been changed.
Okay. All right. I think if you could just send it through to me again, Heloise, then let me just look into it.
All right.
Thando is probably not the right person who is online now, but there are other people in ICT that would look into this and resolve it.
Okay. Moving on, it's now 34 minutes after 7 o'clock on a Tuesday evening. Dion Fourie asks the question, I'm on this link as a last resort. Please, Dion, don't give up. I have made payment for the lodgement of annual returns on the 5th of February, lodged ticket on 9th of February, sent email to revenue at CIPC and CC'd Ms. Luden, but still not allocated today. How or where can I sort this out? We are paying penalties due to non-response on the ticket system, no telephonic response, and now email communication. I am too scared to pay more funds that does not get allocated.
You need to just send me an email. I don't usually respond to emails that I'm CC'd copied on because I get too many. So the first thing I do is I work through all the emails that I'm CC'd on and I delete them, and then I deal with the ones that have been sent directly to me.
All right. So Dion Fourie, so please send your email directly to Ms. Luding, and she will go through it and be able to give you more concrete response to your question there. If I look through the chat box again, the Commissioner, another question. Well, here's a thank you from Caroline. I think she was happy with your response live on the show. Thank you very much. And Mngezi said, Astrid, take notice of comment by Nozipo below. Okay, let me scroll down to Nozipo. Nozipo says, I've registered my company through FNB and have never received my original documents. And though I have requested that CIPC liaise directly with me, but it looks like all communications has to go to FNB, which takes months for FNB before they forward the information to me. This really does not work, and FNB says, hope I didn't lose it, and FNB says it is against their policy to have CIPC liaise directly with their clients. I find that absurd. That's from Nozipo. That's the communication and the process between CIPC and FNB.
And Nozipo, yes, if FNB would like to deal with their clients. However, we do get a lot of queries from people. You can send it to me, and I will forward it to the team in CIPC who actually liaises with FNB and sorts out these problems. So my email address is aluden@cipc.co.za. I'll forward it to the right people.
Awesome. Thank you there, Commissioner. One from Sia, also about banks, says, can the CIPC please instruct the banks not to ask for MOIs and accept the COR company registration documents?
The banks don't expect MOIs for standard documents, Sia. For standard, they won't. They should not ask you for a standard MOI. We have agreed that with the Banking Association, and I think what we must just do is post a note to that effect on our website, and then if you ever have a problem with a bank, you need to just take a copy of that to them. We have also agreed that. I think the issue maybe for the banks, let me understand what the problem is. You know what I remember, Sia, the issue is that they don't know if it's a standard MOI or not. They can't really tell from the status of the company. Mm-hmm. So they should be able to tell from your registration certificate. But I'll ask the team to look into that so that we can just clarify in terms of a sort of a status. If you take a certificate, a registration certificate, that it distinguishes between the different types of entities that have been registered, so they don't ask you for the MOI. We'll follow up on that.
Alrighty. There was a point that asked me to ask you a question, I think from Virgil, so I'm still trying to look for that question. I see one of the guys that I don't know, maybe he heard that I was trying to get him on the show, Mngezi. He just sent through a note saying the commissioner did respond to all my 4 questions posted last week. So there we go, guys. The commissioner does respond to your queries if you email it to her. Leander says, why does any work at CIPC so long, I think take so long to be done, as well as no one getting back to you? I think we've dealt with that, Commissioner. I don't know if you want to say anything there.
No, I think you just need to understand that, as an organization, we went through a lot of changes last year. And so we're bedding those down. And every time there's a change, unfortunately, it does disrupt. It also disrupts internally. So things are definitely improving, though I think in a number of areas it's quite stable. So just, we're working on improving it. That's all I can say.
All right. Christopher, let me give you some work. Norman just sent through a private question, says, how exactly can I log in to ask a live question? Next, we move on. Sam, Commissioner, is Sam working with you? Because I get confused sometimes. It looks like he is responding to questions. Or is Sam another Sam who's just helping out?
I don't think Sam is working with us. I see Tando is responding and Rudzani is responding. So those are the two CIPC
that you've got on the show.
Employees that are colleagues that have joined. Yes.
Okay, maybe Sam is just trying to help out, because when I try and read the question, it looks like it's a response. But here's a question from Sam. Please explain the deregistrations process and follow-ups thereof. I don't know if you did touch on that. That if you don't do your company annual return submissions and payments, then there are chances that you might get deregistered. I think we lost the
I think we lost the commissioner there. Maybe she'll see that hopefully and sign up back. But while we had a question about if you want to ask a live question, maybe I can explain that quickly. At the top of the chat area, there's a admin notice, and in there's a message that says that if you want to ask your question live on the show, you must actually exit your current window. Now the reason for that is that otherwise we will pick up an echo. Everyone will hear the echo twice over. Omar just got an SMS from the commissioner that her computer died, and she's trying to sort that out. Okay. So in any case, so maybe we can get more people signing in live and telling us about what it is that they are experiencing. There's a link. Preferably, you need to open Chrome, because that's the best browser to use. And then in the admin notice, there's a link that starts with Webinar Jam. And if you click on that link, if you open that link in a new window, it will actually bring your face right into the show.
All right. As you're talking now, I'm busy trying to scroll down to see if we can get Thando, because he did comment on a few BEE verification processes that the commissioner commented on when we started the show. So if we could possibly, in the absence of the commissioner, maybe I'll try and email him and try and get him on the show as we're talking along. I think also there's an opportunity out there, I guess, Christoph, to remind the guys that on our Facebook page, Small Business Connect, every Friday there's something called Free Friday. Can you tell us more about that? I think it's an opportunity to promote your business or something.
Yes, the Small Business Connect Facebook page does not carry any promotional material. So, in fact, if people do post promotional material on there during the week, in any of the comments or post onto our page, onto our feed, any promotional material, it is deleted. However, on a Friday, we've got the opportunity for everyone to promote their business, which we call Free Friday. And so you can watch out for that on our Facebook page. On our website, we actually also launched a directory of services and organizations that are offering services aimed at entrepreneurs and businesses. So if you are in the business of offering services to business, there's also a way. If you go to the home page, you'll see there's a page you can click on there that says I think directory, and there's a process that you can follow to register the services that you offer as a way of promoting what you do in the small business community. So it's also a way, of course, for us to build the capacity and strength of the businesses of people that are in the small business community.
And how is the response being from the followers, if I can ask you that?
Well, it varies. In fact, when we started off with the Free Friday, there was an absolute overflow of posts, because I think people were hungry for that. They tapered off a bit, and it's kind of steady now. And always interesting things that affect small businesses. And what we actually ask there is that people post a special for the week. So we entice you not to just kind of offer the same thing that you normally do, but to offer something special, maybe a discount or maybe a special way of dealing with something or so on. So, Herman, while we're chatting now, I thought, and maybe I'm not. I see Nabila, our news editor, is on the call. I saw earlier she said she had sound problems. So if she still has sound problems, then probably she wouldn't be able to participate in a discussion. But we do have plans in terms of how we are going to disseminate the questions and the answers that are being posted here in these shows. So maybe while the commissioner is trying to sort out a computer that died, I'm not sure, maybe she didn't plug a power in, or maybe there's a power failure, I don't know. But, there I see Nabila is coming on. Nabila, can we hear you? Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Well, Nabila, won't you tell us a bit about the user guide for users, by the users that we're planning?
Okay, so we are planning an online tool that the CIPC users can use. We are collating all the questions, and we are working with the CIPC to formulate answers to the questions, and then we'll post all those question and answers onto a wiki that the users can go to. But as we said last week, we'll keep them updated with what's happening with that via our Facebook page and our the email address list that we have.
All right, cool. So there's still some progress on that area there, Nabila.
But just to note that we are only answering generic questions, so it won't be case specific.
All right, and those we still recommend the guys to forward to the CIPC or use that email info@smallbusinessconnect.co.za.
Small Business Connect, not yes.
Yeah, and then we'll forward them to the relevant to the people at the CIPC. All right. I think we will try and get Thando on the line. Sorry, Nabila, is that it? Before I just try and zoom past you there with your comments.
Yeah, that's it from my side.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. So, Christoph, as we getting ready to welcome either Thando or the commissioner back on the show, we've got 13 minutes left. There's another organization that we've been working tirelessly to try and get onto Small Business Connect Radio. Is it too early to let the cat out the bag, or are we just going to wait for Monday and do the announcement?
You know something that I don't know.
Okay, cool. You can see I've got scorpions. Yeah, we try and figure out what's going on in our office.
I think he must be referring to our show with the SEDA CEO, which of course is also a good opportunity for everyone that is interested in benefiting and for growing their businesses, because the Small Enterprise Development Agency is the premier small business support agency, as it should be. And there are real benefits that entrepreneurs can get from using their services. In fact, as a business consultant coach, I'm also involved in providing services to SEDA clients through their system. So in that way, we hope that similar to this show here today, we can have engagement with people that may benefit from or want to benefit from SEDA services in chatting with the CEO of SEDA about what their plans are.
Awesome. I look forward to that. Obviously, we need to get them onto the show as a brief intro to SEDA to the public as well. So, Christoph, I've got another Chris on the line, so I don't know if he's able to hear us. Hi, Chris. Just remember, if you're going to be joining us live, make sure your audio is sound as well. If you're either using a headset or your speaker on your machine is working.
Herman, I think that might be me.
Hello, welcome back.
Thank you.
Using a different code name there.
I apologize.
I thought it was one of our live brave souls who wants to have a chat with you directly. So welcome back, the Commissioner. I believe load shedding or something. No, let me not blame Eskom. So I'll keep them out of this one. So welcome back, the Commissioner.
Thank you. My apologies.
Cool. No, that's all right. Glad to have you back. If we can carry on there, we have a question from, I think, Virgil. My name reservation application has exceeded the 5 days turnaround time. The tracking number is 924.
Well, the name reservations team, my understanding is on a 7-day day turnaround time. So that could mean very well 10 calendar days. So just please be patient. The team is working hard. It's a very hard-working team. They always catch up, and I'm sure they'll have caught up soon.
All right. I think there's another follow-up to that. It says Saika has sent us a list of people to contact at CIPC when the turnaround times are not met. However, these people never respond to relevant emails. I think, yeah, some of the issues or areas that we've been touching on, there's backlog issues possibly.
It depends. You know, many of the managers have committed to the query resolution system, and so they really respond. They cannot respond to the queries on the query resolution system and emails. So they will refer to the query resolution system. And, for example, in reinstatements, name reservations, I believe even in director changes, generally the team managers and the team leaders answer those queries. So the only exception that we have right now is with company registrations, new registrations, and I think that sometimes the MOI change area also struggles to respond to queries. That's generally just because of the volume.
All right, and then Pradesh asks, do you have experience in converting, or I don't know who is asking that, but I'll rephrase the question. In converting a private company to a personal liability, what is the process there in terms of forms there may be, Commissioner?
I recommend that you look at the website under Maintain Your Business. All the information will be on there, and it'll tell you what the process is to convert. You need to look under the section that talks about changing the status of your business. But check on the website.
Okay. There's also same information is available online of changing the CC members.
The information, changing CC members, what we recommend is that you deal with that electronically through e-services. But again, all the information is on the website under Maintain Your Business. Explore that area. There's a lot of information on there.
All right, cool. I think there's another question which I'm not going to ask. It relates to changing of shareholdership. I think the information should be available online. I don't want to assume there. I'm assuming it's there.
I'm sorry, Herman. I was actually reading one of the questions, so you lost me for a moment there.
No, that's fine. It's a question around if you want to allocate shareholdership in my company, what documents should I prepare and the forms should I fill in?
For companies, we don't keep a record of shareholding at all. The New Companies Act doesn't require it, and our systems have not been designed to do that. If you own a closed corporation, every time you make a member change, you also need to indicate how you want the shareholding to change. Because in a closed corporation, the members and the shareholders, the owners of the company, are the same. So we don't keep those records at all for for companies.
All right. There's another question from Ember. It says many banks still require certified copies of companies' incorporated documents, but there are no longer original hard copy documents issued by the CIPC to make certified copies from. Is it possible that the CIPC issue a notice that this is no longer possible as they understand it? We have explained this to banks, but a notice from the CIPC would hugely help our discussions.
There is a notice on the website that indicates that the Financial Intelligence Center has recently changed its requirements for verification. So look for that notice on the website. It's a fairly recent one. I think it was issued late last year. And that notice you should take to a bank because it is absolutely unnecessary now. Their regulator, one of their regulators, has indicated that they no longer need these documents. They only need a full disclosure certificate.
All right. But obviously you'll find that certain small business or relationship manager who still insists on a different form at certain banks. I'm not going to mention names. But anyway, as we move along, Brono and Source says every single turnaround time that has been mentioned by Astrid tonight is not true. Please come back to us with real turnaround times, as we follow all the rules set by CIPC, and we're not getting, or we're getting nothing out of CIPC.
If you're not getting anything out of CIPC, then I think the problem may be on your side. And I think so. Please send me some of the details so that we can investigate. Either, for example, the company registrations have been rejected, or the documents are available online and you need to actually download them. It's also possible periodically our dispatch emails go down. You know, they could go down for 10 minutes and it might just affect your batch. So we always recommend that you look on the website under certificates and disclosures, and you should be able to find some of the detail there. But again, if you're not getting if you're not getting feedback on any transaction, you need to escalate those so that we can invest and understand exactly where the problem is.
All right. Ntabeng rather, it says, I transferred money to the CIPC account via internet, but it's not reflecting. But the problem is with the bank. I now received an email that I must deposit money so that they can finish my registration. I did that now, and what is going to happen? I lost the end of the question there.
Well, we need to make sure that the fund. And Toby's saying we need to make sure that the funds that you've allocated are that you've deposited are allocated. So for a EFT, depending on the bank, if it's ABSA to ABSA, I think it's 24 hours. Otherwise, it's 48 hours. It's only with a cash deposit that we can recognize it. ABSA branch that we can recognize it within 15 minutes. So I think you need to log a ticket. And if you don't get a response, you need to send me an email so that I can forward it to our finance people.
Okay, and then there was another question from Maggie. No, actually from Pradesh. Says, is there a way to get a print out or copy of the chat trail? There are some important emails and information that we may have missed. I think this is what Nabila and Christoph spoke about. I don't know if I'm... so, Christoph, if I can put you in before we close the show.
Yes.
Can we share the chat trail from start to finish?
Yes, I was just trying to send you a quick message there to speak about this, because we'll be looking into how we can possibly email the thread to everyone that attended. I'm not making a promise because maybe it's not possible, but if it is possible, we will be emailing the whole thread to everyone with all the questions. And I think it was quite great that this time around we had 2 people from the CIPC and even some people like Sam helping us in providing answers to questions in the chat area too.
Awesome. And Inet says, Ed Herman, you highlighted the hele gesprek. Copy and paste in Word. Inet, thank you very much. I have been doing that. And I'll carry on doing that. It does help a lot, because sometimes you read a question and then all of a sudden it just disappears. About a minute and a half before we wrap up, let me bring back the commissioner on wrapping up tonight's show. As you heard, we will share the chats, and you'll be able to follow on what was on the show tonight. Commissioner, if I can bring you to wrap up your thoughts and responses to some of the questions that we had tonight.
Herman, I think, one of the key things, obviously, are still us being able to respond to queries where they've been escalated. And as I've indicated, if there's a correction, please send it through to corrections. If you're not getting a response, you need to just send an email through to me so that we can direct it. Our turnaround times are coming back on stream, back in line with what you should be expecting from us. So if you have a lot of transactions that are still outstanding, there's a problem somewhere. So if you've logged a ticket already, please send me the details of those transactions. Otherwise, log a ticket.
All right. And remember, any correspondence that you'd like to have with the CIPC, you can also send us the email as well. That's info@smallbusinessconnect.co.za, and we'll share it with the CIPC as well. So, and remember that some of the questions, the information is already on the website. So you just got to do a bit of reading there on your side as well, as the Commissioner highlighted as well. And from our side as SBC, you heard Christoph and Nabila. Once the wiki site is up and running and all the questions have been tailored or some of the responses have been received and handled, we'll be publishing those, and we're going to communicate with you guys as well. So thank you very much once again for your time, Commissioner. We're looking forward to having you back on the show next week.
Thanks very much, Herman, to you and to Christoph, and also to my colleagues, Tando and Rudzani. Thanks very much, everybody. It was another great show.
Awesome. Christoph, your final thoughts as we wrap up tonight?
My final thought is that it's close to bedtime.
I will join you on that.
But it was a great show, and I'm looking forward to next week. So just maybe there may be questions that we didn't get to today, and we will be back next week, same time. Watch out, if you haven't subscribed to our email list, then you should do so. Go to the smallbusinessconnect.co.za website, and in the right-hand column there's a button that you can click to subscribe to the email so that you can get a reminder and get your link to next week's show.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Remember, go out there, make it happen. It's 2015. Have yourself a beautiful evening.